Hey guys, today I have something a little different for you. I mentioned in my last video that I had played with alcohol inks and I filmed my first attempt. So here it is, I thought I'd share it with you, and if any of you guys do use alcohol inks, I'd love some feedback and any tips on how to improve. So I guess the first thing I should talk about is the products that I use. So I don't know how to pronounce it, I pronounce it Yupo paper, but I've heard people call it Yupo paper. I used that. And then I used alcohol inks. The brand that I used are the Paper Mill. I bought them in Australia. They're normally about $10 each, but Right Art and Craft have 50% off. So I got them for $5 each. As I haven't used any other brands, I don't know what to expect, but I found some of these kind of granulated as they separated, which I wasn't a fan of at all. Now, I didn't buy I can't remember what it's called, a blending medium, because I was told alcohol is basically the exact same thing, and I have 99% alcohol at home. So I used that, and in line with some videos that I've seen, I put a couple of drops of glycerin in with it. I don't think I overdid the glycerin, I went very light on it, but I've also heard that alcohol inks dry very quick, and a day after doing some of these, I still have like wet patches. Not wet patches, but I touch them and pigment comes off on my finger, so I don't know if I just overloaded the alcohol inks or if there was too much glycerin, but I'm going to try doing one without using any glycerin in the alcohol. Now, there was actually one attempt before this painting. I did use my heat gun on it, and that didn't work out. It completely buckled the paper, and it didn't really have enough blowing strength to even blow the alcohol ink around. So I want to try and get a cheap hairdryer that's really weak in strength so I can blow it around a bit better, because I did not like using a straw. Now, this part of the video here, I'm actually, I don't know what you call it, pouring the inks, applying the inks, is sped up at a ×2 rate, so let me know if that is too slow, if you like real-time videos. I don't know how many of these videos I would do, but if you do like them, I'm happy to try and do more, because I bought a lot of paper and I bought a lot of ink. Back to the ink though, and this brand, as it's the only brand I used, I don't know what to compare it to. I do have one, Pinata branded alcohol ink, and that's white, and I did use it in a later painting that I did, but I don't have colours really to compare it to, because that white really sunk to the bottom of the other ink. Now, another thing that I want to play around with is, as I said, I heard that alcohol inks dry real fast, and that really wasn't the case for me. And I don't know if I was putting on too much alcohol and the paper was just getting that overloaded that it needed more time to dry, but I've heard they can dry in seconds. But this painting here was all done in one sitting. I didn't put it aside to dry at all. And I wonder if that's something maybe that I should work with, is letting a first layer dry and then playing on top. Because I see that in videos of other people when they use heat tools and that, it dries the ink down. So maybe I need to play around with that and see what I can come up with when the ink actually gets a chance to dry before I apply the next layer. So for this piece, I used 4 colours in total. I don't know what they're called. But I used a red, a light grey, a black, which, oh, it's not called black, but it was basically a black. I did not like using that colour. That's this colour right now that I'm blowing around. That one kind of stained a bit. I found it hard to spread, even if I put quite a bit of ink around it. And then I also use a blue in a moment. Now, as I said, my art store was having 50% off, and they have been having 50% off for months. One day I'm going to go in expecting 50% off and be shocked that it's full price again. But I have been very interested in, I think it's called gilding, which is like applying gold leaf. So they have an imitation gold leaf that I bought, and when I asked the store attendant if they had the glue to apply it with, they directed me towards a tacky glue. They said it wasn't the actual brand from Japan or something. I don't know what they were talking about, because I feel like there's more than one brand of the glue to apply gold leaf with. But I did buy this tacky glue, and you will see my experience with it later on in the video. Now, if you have experience with alcohol inks, I would love your opinion on whether or not I should buy that blending solution. I think if I've got the chance to, because I work right near that art store, I might try and go and get it if it's still 50% off, because it's only about $5, and it would be really interesting to compare it to the mix with glycerin and alcohol, plain alcohol, and just using the blending solution. Now, one thing that I would like to improve with this is getting smoother edges. My understanding is to do that I need to put the blending solution or the alcohol down around the colour, and then I think use some sort of blowing tool to blow it out, because when I wasn't using a blowing tool, they just pushed each other around and it didn't like fade outwards or anything. I still got that harsh line, which I do like, but I still want to be able to create smoother edges around the border of the painting. Now, I bought 10 alcohol inks in total, excluding the white, which might have been a bit overkill, but I didn't actually buy them to do alcohol ink paintings. I originally bought, I want to say 5 ink colours because I wanted to use them with resin that I don't yet own. I still want to do that, but then I had this impulsive urge to create some alcohol ink artwork, and then I went ahead and bought 3 packets of different size paper and 5 more inks. So I have done a few more paintings since this one. I do have, I think most of them recorded. They were all done in the same night, so they were all really like kind of a first go before I got to sit back and reflect. I'm not sure if I have all the recording of it though, so I might put together another video or 2, but I think I want to sit back for a while before I go back into this and maybe wait till I do get that hairdryer, and so I can try that technique of being able to blow the ink around a bit more. But there is definitely a learning curve to this medium, and the videos that I watched made it look so easy, and as always, it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. Now, what you just saw me do was lay down the first layer of that tacky glue. I waited for it to dry down quite a bit because it's quite a thick, like gooey kind of glue, and the gold leaf did not adhere to it at all. As you can see, all that's going to brush off that I've got there. So I applied it again, and then I left the gold leaf to it for a while, and that turned out okay. I'm still not 100% with it because I found, firstly, the gold leaf stuck to some random bits that there wasn't glue on, and secondly, the glue, the bits where I actually put glue on it, some parts of it stuck, but then some of the glue moved around, maybe it wasn't dry properly, so there's issues there. I think one thing I want to try and do is not apply the glue straight out from the tube or from the squeezy bottle, and actually apply it with a brush or something so it's a bit thinner, because I think those thick globs of glue that come out from it is just too much. Now, another thing that I have tried, or I started to try, is to do a painting and leave it overnight, because as I said, mine don't seem to just dry down to be completely solid and dry to the touch. There's just a few patches where the ink's laid a bit more, it's a bit thicker, where it's just not drying properly, and I think those areas are going to affect me trying to add gold leaf. So I do have a few pieces that I have left overnight, or over a few nights now, and they're still not dry enough to apply it, so I'm going to have to do some troubleshooting there. Anyway, here is the final piece in some sunlight, and there is a photo that's about to follow. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. My Instagram link down below if you want to see more of my artwork and some maybe behind the scenes stuff. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to hear your feedback on what I can do to improve my artwork and my alcohol ink, and I hope you guys have a great day.